Welcome to the Girls Basketball State Tournament edition of the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast. I'm Stu Pospisil, and this week it's Mike Patterson in all his glory, and we'll see if his streak continues against me. Doggone, you just keep winning.
5 in a row, not just all basketball, but going back to the football, volleyball days.
Are you going for one for the second thumb or what?
I am, but boy, I'm a little bit leery this year, Stu. I don't really like my chances, to be honest. Just looking at all 6 classes, I think it's really tough, and a lot of times there's one team that you can say, okay, this one definitely, not a lock, but really deserves that favorite,
yeah.
Definitely a prohibitive favorite. I'm not sure you can really say that this year in any of the 6 classes.
I don't think you can.
So we'll see what happens.
I'm waiting for your crystal ball. I think you're going to share some of your infinite wisdom right now, Karnak.
Well, I'm going to try.
No, okay. Let's take. You want to go top to bottom or bottom to top? Let's take D2 first. Let's work our way up.
Okay. Well, defending champion Fall City Sacred Heart is back, and the Irish. I think this might be their 12th or 13th straight trip to state. So Luke Santos got his team back again. They're the top seed. I've got them ranked number 1. Now, whether that means that's going to equate into another national or another championship, we'll see, because there's some real contenders there.
They might be a D2 national champion, because I'm not sure there is another D2 in the nation. So they might be able to proclaim that. But
that's quite possible.
You know, I'm looking at the bracket, and I saw the other night, I think it's McKenna Yates from McCool Junction, 39 in a district final. She could be someone really to watch in this tourney.
That's true. And they're playing St. Francis.
Perennial power.
Widener's former team, now at Nebraska, so we know all about them. Shelton is in the field. They're 22-1. And, that first rounder of O'Neill St. Mary's and Wynot, I remember writing some years back, I scolded myself for picking against Wynot because they seem like they're there every year. Steve Wiesler does a great job. Tracy Berg does a nice job at St. Mary's. So, like I said, there's a lot of quality. A lot of quality in D2.
Who do you see as your champion? Is it going to be Sacred Heart?
They're the logical choice. I'm probably leaning that way. Yes.
Oh, okay. Mike's official picks will be in the paper in a couple days, but we're going to try and press them as much as we can. D1, Ravenna. Number 1 seed. What do you know about the Blue Jays?
Right. We've had a really nice season, but Centura got them late in the season.
That's right.
And Ravenna had beaten Centura a couple of times. Ravenna and Centura both at state. Really good teams. I'm looking at the rest of that bracket, and our old friends at Hartington Cedar Catholic are back again this year. They're one of those teams that always seems to pick it up about this time, and they're really tough at state. So
well, they had a volleyball appearance too. They made the finals, I believe, right?
Yes, they did. So great program up there. Cedar Catholic, again, Ravenna, top seed. I think I've got them ranked number 2 after that loss to Centura, but the Blue Jays probably loom as the favorite.
Do you see a Ravenna Centura 4th go-around?
Quite possible. Centura's playing Elgin Pope John in the first round, and I think that might be a really good game. Pope John came on it late in the season, so much like D2, I don't think you can look past anybody here. And we must mention our friends from Hastings St. Cecilia, the defending C2 champion, playing in D1 this year. The Hawkettes are always tough, so we'll see what they bring to the mix.
Yes, St. Cecilia, I think this is maybe one of the rare times in D1. It's based on enrollment, and their girls' numbers are down a little bit, but it's still the same schedule that the Blue Hawks play, and that schedule may, I think, prove advantageous in maybe getting through this field.
Right. Sometimes you have to take those records with a grain of salt.
Certainly.
There's some teams here with 1 loss. St. Cecilia has 7 losses, but like you said, they play a really tough schedule. So that could help them once we get to state.
How about C2, where Northeast Nebraska, 6 of the 8 teams are from our sister paper, the Norfolk Daily News up there, their coverage area.
That's what's going to make it tough, because those teams kind of beat up on each other. So Crofton is the number 1 seed. Pender is the team I've got ranked number 1. 2 of those teams that you're talking about, Stu, but Ponca, Oakland, Craig, West Point, Guardian Angels, Central Catholic, Clarkson Lee. A lot of quality there, and like I said, they usually beat up on each other, which makes it really tough to pick who's going to prevail at state.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the bracket. I could see any one of those 6 teams ending up as champion.
I could too, and Southern Valley and SEM are the other 2 teams, and Southern Valley did a nice job to get to state, and I think they might give Guardian Angel, Central Catholic a pretty good run in that first round. So I'm not dismissing them yet, but again, quality top to bottom in that field.
Certainly, and again in C1, North Bend's number 1, but you've got Bridgeport ahead of them, don't you?
Yes, I do. It's hard to leave a
Undefeated
team that hasn't lost yet, the only undefeated team in the state. It's hard not to rank them number 1. I was out at Bridgeport about a month ago. Great program. They're back again. They finished as the runner-up last year, C2 to St. Cecilia. That's added motivation. Moved up to C1 this year, so I think if they were in C2, they'd be the prohibitive favorite.
Certainly.
And North Bend would be the prohibitive favorite in C1, but they're both in the same class. North Bend going for their 4th straight title. North Bend has the Emmanuel sisters. Bridgeport has the Loomis Goltel sisters. A lot of other quality teams in that field. UTAN, Wahoo, Malcolm, Lincoln Christian, Adams Central, which is 24-1, and Gothenburg rounds out Class C1. So I think logically it should be North Bend and Bridgeport, but I could see one of those other teams upsetting the apple cart.
UTAN, I think, at number 8 seed, 22-4, they had a really solid win in districts, didn't they?
That's a pretty solid 22-4. Yeah,
that was against Milford.
They upset, I believe they upset Wahoo in sub-districts. So nice season for UTAN. Unfortunately, they have to play North Bend, a team that beat them in sub-districts. That's the first rounder. But, North Bend is going to have to bring it in that first game against a team that is playing well down the stretch. So
when I saw Wahoo and Malcolm, and both teams have a couple shooters. I mean, that was for the Trailblazer Conference Championship at Wahoo about a month ago. And, Lincoln Christian is always going to be tough, especially in Lincoln. And Adams Central and Gothenburg, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing they maybe have a game on their log.
Right. Malcolm, that Dolliver girl, isn't too bad down there for the Clippers. So.
As a 9th grader.
Yeah.
That's John Dolliver, the tournament director for the NSAA. That's a good athletic family. And, his brother, John, is the younger brother, is the coach of Pender.
Good family lines there. Like I said, Malcolm could be in the mix.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Jason Dolliver. Yes.
We'll see. Yeah, but one other thing I wanted to mention about Lincoln Christian, they always bring a good band.
Yes,
so
they do.
That's something else to watch for down at State. Again, North Bend going for 4 in a row, possibly a slight favorite. Bridgeport, I don't know. We'll see if that's the final, which
it can be very exciting.
We'll be talking about Class B, kind of a similar situation there. But
well, let's get to Class B, and okay, is it undefeated in the state scut, number 1, or is it Elkhorn North, 2-time defending champion?
I don't know. I'm still waffling on that. By the hour, I kind of go back and forth. I mean, we all know about Britt Prince playing for Elkhorn North. They're going for their 3rd consecutive title in their 3rd varsity season, which talk about a rarity. Standing in their way, probably, these have been the top 2 teams all season long, will be Omaha Scott. Skyhawks started the season with a win at home against Elkhorn North. That's the only blemish on the Wolves' record. So Scott's gone on to have a great season. Their only loss all year long was in that Nike Tournament of Champions in Phoenix. So, boy, that's a really tough call. Like I said, I'm not quite ready to make that call yet. It's going to be one of those two teams, I believe, in Class B. They've separated themselves from the rest of the field, so we'll see.
It would be some type of final if we could see at their best Britt Prince and Taylor Murphy against Peyton McCabe and Molly Ladwig.
Yeah.
It was a defensive game, right? The first time around?
Yeah.
Low scoring?
42-35.
Do you see that changing this time?
Hard to say. Down at State, it can be a low-scoring game. When the pressure's ramped up in the final and playing in the arena and playing in front of the big crowd.
And it's a larger floor than Scott.
I seem to remember Elkhorn North a couple years ago against Norris. It was a low-scoring game and low-scoring last year when Elkhorn North beat Scott. So I'm expecting not a really high-scoring game in that one. Even though, having said that, Britt Prince has gone off and had some really big games, and she steps up her game when the bright lights are on. So
what does work against Class B is in this new 4-day format, they are the larger, or of the two large classes, they have to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you don't get that day of rest that I think does help, and I think we've seen that in the past. But maybe last year we had some good finals because somebody got a day of rest at some point during their week-long tourney schedule. You're not going to have that this year for three of the classes.
That's right. Class A will have that day of rest. I think Scott might be just a little bit deeper than Elkhorn North, so maybe that 3 games in a row might play toward the Skyhawks. But as you said, it's been interesting to see the newcomers step up this year. Molly Ladwig at Scott and McKenna Murphy at
each of them a move-in transfer, yeah.
Right, and boy, they're key components of both those teams, and they'll be counted on at State, not just in the final, but if they make it to the final, but those early rounds too.
Well, now we come to Class A. The question, they've won 100 games in 4 years. They've been knocking on the door the first 3 years. They're at the entrance again. Or are they going to break down the door and get the championship trophy, Millard South?
I was going to say, they being Millard South, the Patriots, I think everyone would agree that that school, that program, the 3 top players have done everything asked of them except for one thing. They just haven't been able to win that state title. Something's just gone a little bit wrong down at State the last 3 years. The top 3 players, of course, Chloe Lemon, Maya Babbitt, Cora Olson, all averaging about 18 points. They've all been big contributors since they were freshmen. Lexi Finkenbeiner and Juliana Jones, the other 2 senior starters. So it's not just about those 3, it's about the whole team. But boy, first round matchup against a team that you just saw play, Lincoln Southwest, and the Silverhawks were the team that knocked Millard South out last year in the semifinals. Millard South beat them a few weeks ago, but here's the thing about Lincoln Southwest, you can take it from there.
Well, Kennedy Williams is back, the daughter of Amy Williams, Nebraska's women's basketball coach, and Kennedy's dad has worked with her former college coach himself, Lloyd. Between the rehab training, the strength work, and the shooting, he rebounded and rebounded. She says, I can never thank him enough but she's ready to go. She had 16 points in about 18 minutes, maybe 20 in the district final win at Bellevue West. And, I think Millard South has the edge in this game, but this game just got a lot closer. And honestly, Southwest wouldn't be in without her presence last Friday night. You could have had a different number 8 team seed in this tourney.
Right. Probably, Pius or someone like that. But, I can't see at this point Millard South overlooking anybody. They know they've got 3 more wins to get that elusive state title.
I think it comes down to going out and having some fun and maybe trying to shed some of the pressure, although that's tough when you're seniors and it's been elusive. Yeah. I'd say try and play loose and have fun and play the way you have. Also, I think will depend how the games are called. If they're called closely, and I saw the Millard South Elkhorn North game in December that was called closely, and Millard South had issues. They made a great comeback in the fourth quarter with their press, but they had dug such a hole with their foul issues that Elkhorn North was able to get the Brent Prince layup and win that game and kind of mess up your ratings.
Yeah, that's the thing about officiating at state. Seems like it gets a lot closer, and Millard South might have to adjust their game just a little bit, because I know in past years, Cora Olson, who likes to drive the lane, might pick up a couple of charging fouls like she did either last year or the year before, and that messed up with the dynamic a little bit. So
rotation and what have you.
Right. So, they're going to have to figure out how the game's being called right off the bat and kind of go from there. But, I think the fact that Southwest knocked Millard South out last year
little
sure
motivation,
is going to give the Patriots a little added motivation with or without Kennedy Williams.
Okay, well, we've looked at that game. Let's look at the other three first-rounders. Bellevue East, Bellevue West. You saw that game a couple weeks ago.
Right. Advantage the Chieftains there. Excuse me. Advantage to the Chieftains there, Stu. Bellevue West has played well this season, but to me it seems like they're tailing off just a little bit down the stretch. You saw them get beat on their home court by Lincoln Southwest. I didn't really expect that to happen. Omaha Westside gave them a really tough game. Westside not having one of their best seasons. So I don't see anything changing from what happened in that rivalry game a couple weeks ago. Got to give the edge to East.
Okay. How about Millard North and first-timer Lincoln North Star? Congratulations to the Navigators/Gators.
Right. Congratulations to Coach Tommy Johnson. They got the big win at Pius in overtime.
Right.
Hit a three-pointer right there at the end to knock the Thunderbolts out. But it's great that North Star made it, but I just can't see Millard North getting sidetracked in this game. The Mustangs have a lot of depth. They have a lot of quality. And Chris Paulson does a nice job as the head coach. So I got to go with Millard North there.
Okay. The finale on Wednesday night is Lincoln High and Millard West. Lincoln High just with the one loss.
Yeah, they lost, I think, to Bellevue East early in the season, 23-1. The Lynx, if it's possible for a 23-1 team to be under the radar a little bit this year, I think that's the team. They've had a really nice season. First rounder against Millard West, and Mark Kruger's Wildcats went down and won at Lincoln East, which that's a tough district final to win, and you've got to win to get in, and Millard West accomplished that. Having said that, got to give the edge to the Lynx playing down there in Lincoln, and they're the number 3 seed, only lost once. I think they should be able to win that first rounder.
The way I see the bracket, I think it's a Millard South, Millard North final. Is that what you're anticipating?
I'm thinking so, and I saw those teams play about a month ago. It was at Millard South, where they're especially tough. They won about 60 games in a row at home. So if it comes down to Millard South and Millard North, I'm going to give the edge to the Patriots. I think this could be their year, but I'm not selling the Mustangs short because, like I said, they have a lot of depth, and I think that they've really emerged as that top number 2 team in Class A. No offense to Bellevue East because they've had a great season too, but slight edge to Millard South over Millard North if that's the final.
Okay. Any flyers? Anybody in the 6 classes that?
Oh well, let's. I mentioned Bellevue East. They would probably be playing Millard South if things go according to plan in a semifinal. So Maya Scoff has had a great career there at Bellevue East. Maybe a little bit look at the Chieftains there. As far as Class B, I think it's just
it's
the
kind
2.
of cut and dried, yeah.
It's just the 2 there, and I think North Bend and Bridgeport, really the top 2 in C1. Now, when you get to those last 3 classes, just throw a blanket over all of them because, man, that's really tough. I guess if there's one maybe flyer in Class C2, I'd mention Oakland Craig. They're a team that always seems to play well at state.
Yes.
And Like I said, these teams have beaten each other, but they're playing Ponca in the first round. Really tough first rounder. So either one of those teams could win. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens when it all starts Wednesday down in Lincoln.
Yep, we'll be there for the whole thing. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the girls' state tourney. We'll be back next week with a wrap-up of the girls and a look at the boys' state tourney, which begins March 8th and could be as wildly unpredictable as what could be in the offing here. So for Mike Patterson, I'm Stu Pospisil. We'll see you next time on the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast.